Tuesday, which is a roast day for us at Blending Room, and I'm going to try and do a pretty raw roast production day vlog of some description, walk you through the day, the sorts of things that I do, and try and keep it as real as possible. So it helps me in editing, and then you just see the real side of roasting coffee throughout the day. I've chosen a Tuesday because Tuesdays are a relatively easy day for me. Easy because they aren't so broad in the origins that I roast, so there's slightly less concentration. There's many roasts that I do back to back of exactly the same. So racked today, we have a bunch of Pantano. There are 20 batches of Pantano to do, 8 of which form part of a blend, of which 2 of the La Bolsa are a component. I then have 12 additional Pantanos racked with maybe one more, and then I have a couple of roasts that will be going towards the subscription coffee. So I roast the subscription coffee on a Tuesday, so our production assistant Jules has the ability then to have that packed and ready to go out the door on a Wednesday morning. Which then means that those subscribers get it on a Friday. So anyway, back to the process. I have 25 plus 1 racked of roasts. Now what we're going to do is get the roaster on, and as that's happening, I'm going to brew myself a coffee. So the roaster's connected up, the power's on, the water's on. We need water for this, water quenching in the lorrying. Next is the fire up sequence that can take a few goes to get going. That can be a little bit of an irritation with lorrying, but you know, there we are, that's things. And then I will go brew that coffee. The lorrying is extremely loud at warm up. There's a whole bunch of air that's been dragged into the system now, and that's flushing the burner jets with gas as well for the ignition phase. It may do this a few times, and yeah, it's just super loud. This now is ignition attempt number 4. Are we going to be lucky on attempt number 5? Here we go. Hey, and we're on. So this is the thing with lorrying, is it does take sometimes a few times to get going. It can make you really nervous when you've got a lot to roast. So have ignitions, spare ignitions in place. Do be mindful that you might have to take some of the soot and stuff like that off the actual electrode to help a better ignition sequence. That's something I've had to do inside of 9 months, and I've already gone through one ignition probe. Anyway, now let's brew some coffee and get on with additional prep. Today it's going to be La Bolsa, and I'm going to do a batch brew. So my batch of filter coffee's on. It's about 20 past 6 in the morning now. The roaster's on. Coffee was racked yesterday, and now I've got about 40 minutes whilst the roaster warms up. So this is the point where I get through a bunch of my emails, make notes on what additional items I've got to do during the day, and yeah, have a brew. Get ready for what's going to be probably 4 batches, 5 batches an hour. So we're looking at 5 hours of roasting and concentrating. So yeah, coffee is needed. No matter what the weather, I will always have my very first coffee outside. The warm-up cycles are now done. First batch is going in. It's about 5 past 7 in the morning now. I always start the day with low altitude coffees, or in this case a decaf. So on a Tuesday I roast a batch of decaf, and then on a Wednesday I'll probably roast another couple of batches of decaf first off, then into the Brazils, which we would describe as softs, and then, you know, into other origins if needed. Now it's time to get my ear defenders on and get focused for the day, and I'll take you along for the ride. Coming to the end of the first batch now, which means then I'm going to move into the Pantano. It's going to be a few hours of Pantano roasting now. Decaf's done. Let's get going with that. Within roasting coffee, there's an awful lot of process, and at the minute I'm just going through our between batch process, which is very time restricted and time driven, lifting things at certain times, making sure that various screens are in relevant positions such that each time we do it, the roasts perform exactly the same as they did last time. You can only do that by keeping strict input parameters. Generally, when the first batch is done, I feel much more relaxed and I can actually slip into a bit more of a rhythm throughout my day, especially when I'm doing the wholesale production roast, which means there's going to be a lot of the same thing. It's quite a nice feeling actually, being able to produce something rhythmically throughout a day. Anyway, so now I'm going to lock into what will be 4 hours of roasting Pantano or more. Right, so 20 batches in, and I'm now going to do the 20 batch dance, which is emptying the chaff bin between batches so that we can continue with the roast day without overfilling the chaff bin. So I'm more than halfway through the production day now, and you see that gap there? That's where the Pantano was, and that's where it is now. Jones components, kilo components for single origin. Right, that's the end of roasting today. 30 batches as opposed to the 25 that I had racked. Pushed myself a little bit. There was a couple of extra cells that I wanted to accommodate, and also I like round numbers as well. So now roaster is cooling down, which takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and I am going to blend up some of the components for our espresso blend. It's 1:30 now, and the roaster has cooled down, which means it's lunchtime. And then after lunch, it is clean the roaster down in preparation for tomorrow's roast day and set out all the green, plus complete the blending and maybe help Jules out on some packing as well. And there you have it. That's the end of roast production day on Tuesday here at Blending Room. It was a very standard day. There were 30 batches done, and you've got an overview of what a production roaster's role is, from starting the roaster up to roasting the batches itself and then setting up for the next production day, which for us is our single origin roasting day on a Wednesday. As you've seen, a food production facility is about producing the product and then basically cleaning. That's pretty much all the roaster's job is roasting and cleaning. Anyway, it's 5 o'clock now. It's time for me to go home, and we'll repeat everything again tomorrow. Have a great day. Cheers.